Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the JRock's Babylon News Special. Wow, this is going to be another great episode. Today, we're going to be talking all about this. This just came out last Friday. The official release date, of course, was June 12th, 2026. And of course, this is the Best of Triumph CD. So why are we talking about it? Like I said, just came out last Friday. Now, for anybody that grew up in the 1970s and 80s, like I did, probably the two biggest Canadian rock bands had to be Triumph and Rush. Rush was always a little more popular than Triumph, but for the 1970s, 80s, those were like the two top hard rock bands from Canada, and they're always kind of competing with one another. It's interesting because Rush, with the death of their drummer Neil Peart 4 or 5 years ago, they haven't been performing in a number of years. And Alex and Geddy Lee wanted to still get out there, and they're back out there touring with the new drummer. So that's great to see. But we're talking about Triumph today, and Triumph they haven't toured in several years. In the 1980s, after original Triumph frontman Rick Emmett left the band, Triumph carried on with a new frontman, Phil X to be exact. And of course, Phil X these days, he's better known for being the man that replaced Richie Sambora in Bon Jovi. And so that's what he's doing these days. But Triumph decided to get back because it's been several years since they last toured together. And out on the road celebrating the 50th anniversary of Triumph, you've got Rick Emmett is back in the band. Phil X is back with the band, touring with the band, along with bassist Mike Levine. I believe drummer Gilmore is sitting out of the tour because he has some health issues he's dealing with. And so sitting in for him is Brent Fence, another legendary Canadian rocker who, of course, has played with Vince Neil. The band Union that was fronted by Bruce Kulick and John Corabi. He's also been Slash's longtime drummer. So I think Brent is a perfect fit for Triumph, and good for him for taking part in the 50th year anniversary tour. Now, a number of years ago, there was another greatest hits collection put out by Triumph, and it was a really a top seller because the last greatest hits collection they put out, it featured all their major hits, and then it also featured an additional bonus disc of all their music videos that were the greatest hits. So that was a fun little package. So again, I was kind of wondering why Triumph is putting out another best of collection when they've already got such a greatest hits collection that really has been one of their best-selling albums to date. And so that's a great one to go to because you get all the videos and you get all the hits. Now, I thought it'd be fun to kind of talk about this today. And so that's what we're going to be talking about, the new best of. Now, this is just a single disc. You don't get all the hits, but you get it's a great introduction to Triumph, especially kind of the band being out there on their 50th anniversary tour, and anybody kind of wanting to be reminded of who Triumph was, or just kind of getting introduced to the band. This is a great way to do that. So again, this album was officially released last Friday, June 12th, 2026. Now, it was released on I believe, Craft Recordings, and you can get it on CD, vinyl, and all digital outlets. So that's the place to get this. Now, let's talk about the songs that we get on this CD. You get some pretty good songs. Lay It on the Line, Magic Power, All the Way, Follow Your Heart, Fight the Good Fight. A World of Fantasy, Hold On, I Can't Survive, Spellbound, and Somebody's Out There. Now, for again, anybody that's a major Triumph fan, you're going to know all these songs. Anybody's partial Triumph fan, or you're just kind of being introduced or reintroduced to the band, this is a great CD to get because it'll remind you. Because Triumph hasn't been on the road in a number of years, but now they're celebrating 50 years of Triumph, and so they're back out there. People need to be reminded of what a great band this really is. And so, again, here's some quick, interesting facts for you. Okay, it says the CD contains 10 tracks, all considered among Triumph's signature songs. So, again, these are all songs that you would have heard on the radio back in the 1970s and 1980s. It's available on digital download and vinyl and CD edition. Okay, it says what you need to know about the album. Unlike some other Triumph collection, this release is newly remastered from the original analog tapes, aiming for improved sound quality and clarity. It includes several rare single edits of the songs that only the longer album versions, so it also is marketed as a definitive career spanning introduction to the band. So again, people that have forgotten who Triumph is, you want to be reintroduced to who this band is, this CD is a great way to do that. So let's talk some trivia now about the song selection. It says, Magic Power and Fight the Good Fight come from Triumph's breakthrough era. Both tracks originated on the acclaimed album Allied Forces, often regarded by many Triumph fans as the band's signature studio release. Magic Power became one of Triumph's best-known radio songs of their career. The compilation emphasized Triumph's optimistic side. Now, that is another thing that's kind of really interesting because in doing the research for today's episode, I got the CD because, again, I wanted to be reminded of what a great band Triumph really was. I had heard many of these songs in years. And so one thing that is pretty obvious in listening to all the 10 tracks on the CD is great feel-good tunes. I mean, it's good time music. None of this is going to, none of these songs are going to depress you or bring you down or anything like. This is just great, positive, good time music. That's one thing I've always enjoyed about Triumph music is they're not going to write any songs that'll bring you down or depress you or anything like that. So that's what has always made Triumph such a great band. The compilation, like I said, emphasizes Triumph's optimistic side. Many of the chosen songs, such as Hold On, Fight the Good Fight, Magic Power, and Follow Your Heart, reflect the band's trademark, positive, inspirational themes, something that distinguishes them from many other darker hard rock acts of that era. So again, I mean, let's kind of go through that and think about that. I love a band that's about, rocking and rolling and good time music, and let's get up on our feet and rock the night away. I mean, that's what I want to be listening to. That's type of music. I don't want to be listening to music that's going to bring me down, or depress me or anything like that. Music is supposed to be healing. It's supposed to make you feel good. And apparently, and I agree with this, Triumph music has the power to do that. Now, every member of Triumph contributes significantly to these songs. Unlike many rock bands, Triumph's classic lineup featured multiple lead singers. Rick Emmett, Gil Moore, and Mike Levine all sang on all the albums, So you had more than one guy doing the lead singing, and that's what always made this such a fun band. So why release best of now? This is what it said. Craft Recordings, especially, notes that the collection ties into, like I said, Triumph's 50th anniversary celebrations. The band's return to touring in 2026. Renewed interest generated by recent high-profile performances and reunions of the band. Now, here's some interesting, fun trivia facts that I learned. It says many fans have long compared Triumph to fellow Canadian rock legends Rush. We talked a little bit about that at the beginning of this episode. While Rush became the largest international phenomenon, Triumph earned a reputation for massive live productions, exceptional musicianship, very, very true, arena rock courses, and uplifting messages. Again, that's something very important to think about, when picking a rock band or picking an album that you want to listen to. I don't know about you, but the weekend's wrapping up, and I've been listening to some Triumph all weekend. These are great classic songs. These are the hits that I remember, and there's a few hits that were left off, but it's a great way to reintroduce the band. And I tell you, the music is timeless. Never get tired of stuff because it is such good time music. It is so very uplifting. So that's another reason I really urge you to go out and get the best of Triumph. I mean, you know what? You may tell yourself, I have all the Triumph albums. I don't really need it. But this is a great album to have if you're driving somewhere in your car and you got a CD player, you're going to the beach, or you're going somewhere where you want to have some good time music. This is going to rock your world. This is what you need to get through the weekend, to get to have some great rock and roll vibes. So that's what you need. Triumph is what I ordered, just what the doctor ordered. So that's some kind of fun things to keep in mind. A few more kind of fun details about the album. Although this is being promoted as a best of, it's actually quite conscious at only 10 tracks. Longtime collectors may notice the absence of fan favorites such as Allied Forces, When the Lights Go Down, and Rock and Roll Machine. Talking about some more great good time music. Okay, when I got the best of and I put it on, I was a little disappointed that Rock and Roll Machine was not on there, as well as those other tunes. But you know what? Not disappointed. I mean, I was a little wishing that all those songs were on here, but I guess for various reasons they decided. They already had other. They had like that great previous greatest hits collection with all the music videos and stuff included. So I thought, okay, somebody really wants to hear all the hits, they can go and get that. It's still available. This is just kind of maybe something to sell when at the 50th anniversary reunion show when people go see the band in concert, in 2026. Maybe that's a great thing. Go to a concert, see the band play live, celebrating 50 years of Triumph. You buy the CD, you listen to it in your car on the way home, next day on the way to work. Okay, so that's another reason to do it. It's a great revenue source for a band to make some more money. Why not? I mean, go out and support your heroes. That's what we're in this for. That's why I do these shows and promote the bands and the albums like this that I really, really enjoy. So I hope you go out and get the best of Triumph because you will not be disappointed. I can tell you that much. Okay, now, so this is also what it says. So the compilation appears designed more as an accessible introduction for new listeners than a comprehensive anthology. So that's another thing to keep in mind. They've already got another greatest hits collection, and probably a lot of people got that. This is more maybe for people going to catch a band on the 50th anniversary tour, or people just getting into Triumph. I mean, how many, Triumph has been a band around for 50 years, like I said. This is celebrating 50 years of Triumph. And so there's a good portion of the fans that already know who this band is. But there's many people going on Facebook and the internet and all these different websites, people discovering Triumph for the first time. Triumph, I mean, can you just imagine seeing this for the first time? Triumph. Oh man, that's a cool logo. What is that? Oh, they're a band. Oh wow. It looks cool. Then you go on the band's official site, their Facebook page, check out some of the music videos. Wow, these guys were around in the 1970s, 1980s. Wow, before I was even born, many people are kind of having that experience now, 50 years into Triumph's career, and they're discovering the band for the very first time. So those are the people that are really going to enjoy this because they're discovering some classic, great hard rock music that was a soundtrack to all of our lives. People my age growing up. This was a big part of our musical soundtrack growing up. But there are people in 2026 just discovering who Triumph is today. They might watch this episode I'm doing. Oh wow, who's he talking about? Triumph, best of Triumph. Oh, I got to go check out this Triumph band. Okay, that's what we hope to do here. And I love the fact that Triumph is good time music. It's positive. The songs got positive messages. That's my type of band. I got to be honest with you guys. That's one thing I really hated about many of the grunge bands. They were talking about how depressed they were and how everything was dark in their life. That's kind of bring me down music. A lot of it is good, but I'm not a big fan of a lot of it for that very reason. Now let's talk about what people seem to like about the best of Triumph. Okay, the remastering and original single edits. Okay, let's talk about that. The biggest selling point is that the best of CD uses new mastering from the original analog tapes and includes several original radio single edits that have either been hard to find or never previously appeared digitally for fans who grew up hearing Triumph on FM radio. It's that genuine attraction, which is the very reason people are going out and buying this CD. It just sounds better. I mean, yeah, like I said, many people have the previous greatest hits collection, which is really all the hits you'd want featured, plus all the music videos on a bonus disc, like a 2 great CD set. But when they released that, the technology was what it is today. So even if you have the greatest hits collection, maybe sonically the songs don't sound as good on that greatest hits collection as they do on this. So that's another reason to go out and get this, okay? It's a cleaner introduction for new listeners, like I said. Many fans see it as concise starter collection, at only 10 tracks. It focuses almost entirely on the band's best known radio songs, such as Lay It on the Line, Magic Power, and Fight the Good Fight. I'll tell you, some of my other favorite songs, in fact, being that this has got 10 of the best hits, there's really not a stinker on the album. I will tell you that. I love all 10 tracks, but I'll tell you some of the ones that really stand out for me. As you mentioned, Lay It on the Line, Magic Power, Follow Your Heart. I also love Hold On, I Can Survive. Spellbound's pretty good, and the CD ends with a great track, Somebody's Out There. And that's one of the later hits from the mid to late 80s. So that's a great way to end the album, in my mind. Now, let's talk about what longtime fans are kind of complaining about this Best of Triumph collection. It's too short. It's only got 10 tracks. If you're gonna go to all the trouble, some people are saying, of releasing a new Best of collection, let's have all the hits. Let's have everything. Let's go in there and remaster everything. So sonically kicks ass, all of it. So we have everything. That's kind of the one major gripe. It's like, why give me only 10 tracks? I want everything. Okay. But you get what you get. You gotta be happy with what you got. So it, to me, having a 10 track best of collection is better than not having a new Triumph CD. So it's not a new CD per se, but it's a new collection, a new best of. So this is what you get. So they're delivering the goods. If you want the goods, you go out and support the band. You know, that's just kind of the way I look at it. Okay, and so it says many hardcore fans would have preferred additional classics like Never Surrender, Allied Forces, When the Lights Go Down, Rock and Roll Machine. Now that's a great rock anthem. That's one I'd mentioned that I really wish was included on here. Tears in the Rain. Now that's another thing. I did order this CD because I knew I'd be making an episode about it, and so I wanted to have it in my collection. I wanted to have something to listen to get me going, get me good time vibe music, kind of attitude before I recorded today's episode. Excuse me, and so that's what I did. But then I also went on YouTube before the CD actually arrived in my mailbox, and go to YouTube, and like often you'll find the entire album. But I don't know if maybe this was a foreign release they had up on YouTube or what, but it had more than 10 tracks. The YouTube version, it had like Rock and Roll Machine. So I thought that was going to be on here, but of course it's not. So you never know what you're getting when you go on YouTube, but that's another thing to keep in mind if you do. So it says some collectors already own everything here. So it's like, well, why do I need another best of? Well, you don't need another one, but why not support your band and celebrate 50 years of Triumph if you're a real true Triumph fan? That's kind of my attitude there with that. Longtime Triumph fans often point out that they already have those songs on earlier compilations, such as Classics, Greatest Hits Remix, Living for a Weekend, the Anthology. So there's already at least 3 other Greatest Hits collections out there. Many people may say, well, I got it all. Why do I need another one? You don't need it, but why not? I mean, I'm a collector, so if I'm into a band, I want to have everything they put out. That's just me. Now, so here's another thing. Okay, now when comparing the new best of with the older greatest hits, okay, like I said, the new one's got better sound quality. It includes single edits. People complain about this. This is a shorter version. They wish they had all the hits, not just some of them. They love the newly remastered versions of the songs, so that's good. And I just think, overall, it's a great album. Now, before we end the episode, let's kind of let's go down the list and let's talk about some of the songs on here. Okay, Lay It on the Line. Okay, now this often is considered Triumph's breakthrough song in the United States. It features one of Rick Emmett's most recognizable guitar solos. So Rick Emmett is a voice we hear on many of the Triumph classic hits, and he's also known for his mighty guitar work. And you got to, that's another thing you got to remember when talking about Triumph, is because Triumph was a trio. So Rick Emmett handled, many of the lead vocals. Guitar player, you only had one guitar player in Triumph. You didn't have a rhythm player and a lead player. Rick Emmett handled all the guitar work, and he sang many of the hits. Then you had Gilmore, the drummer. He handled many of the lead vocals as well. Mike Levine was on bass. You had many, he did some of the vocals throughout Triumph's career. They all contribute to the songwriting. You had Phil X come in and replace Rick Emmett. So very much like Rick Emmett, before him, he handled all the many of the lead vocals and the guitar duties. So that's another thing to kind of keep in mind when remembering the music of Triumph, that this was a trio, and just think about how many great trios there were in the history of rock. Even though like the Who had 4 members, they were known as a trio because Roger Daltrey was a singer, but then you had the bass player, the guitar player, and the drummer. So they were also considered a trio. You had Grand Funk Railroad. Um, so that's another thing to kind of keep in mind when talking about the music of Triumph. Now, Magic Power is track number 2. And this is one of the band's biggest radio hits. I can't tell you how many times I've heard this song. I've heard all these songs on classic rock radio, when I'm driving to work in the morning on classic rock radio. So I've heard all these songs played on the radio. So that's kind of the impact all of these songs have had. And so it also says it's built around an uplifting message about the power of music. I often say that music is the universal language. It's the one thing that has the power to bring many, many people together. I mean, if you look at, we're talking about Triumph, a new best of CD celebrating 50 years of Triumph. They're on their 50th anniversary tour. I mean, Triumph the band and their music is bringing us together to, talking about the band. I mean, that's always been the power of music that I just love about it. Okay, track number 3, All the Way, another one of my all-time favorite tracks. This comes off of the Just a Game album, and it's the deepest cut on this best of collection. It's a concise hard rock track that showcases the band's early sound. Unlike most tracks on the best of Triumph CD, it appears in its regular album form rather than as a single edit. White's here. It represents Triumph's late 70s era and adds some energy between the bigger radio hits. So again, I think the way the best of Triumph CD flows here, it's in the perfect order, and you're going to see that when you listen to this. One of my all-time favorite Triumph tracks, I thank God it's included here, track number 4, Follow Your Heart. One of Triumph's most melodic and accessible songs. It reaches the charts in both Canada and the U.S. Can you imagine? So in Triumph's home country of Canada and the U.S., it hit the charts in a major, major way. It features a positive, inspirational theme that became a Triumph trademark. Again, if you check out all the songs on the Best of Triumph CD, it's all good time music. It's all the messages of the songs that got just good vibe music, if you will. That became a signature thing throughout Triumph's 50-year career. Fight the Good Fight, okay? This is another Triumph standout track. I'm not surprised that this is on here. And I got to tell you that one of my favorite up-and-coming bands over the last couple of years spanned Images of Eden. They put out a great cover of this song, a great music video for Fight the Good Fight. So if you want to see somebody covering this song, go check out Images of Eden and their version of Fight the Good Fight. It kicks major ass, does not disappoint. And they do a pretty good job of covering. They stay pretty true to the original, the original version of the Triumph song. And, the lead singer, Gordon Titsworth, who I've interviewed a number of times over the years, he recently has been recovering from major heart surgery. So Gordon, we're thinking about you, and we can't wait to see what happens with you and Images of Eden next. Stay healthy, my friend, and make some new Images of Eden music. That's what we want to hear. Okay. Now, okay. Let's see. So track number 6, A World of Fantasy. Okay. And this comes off of the album Surrender. It's one of Triumph's most keyboard-driven songs. Blends hard rock with futuristic, melodic, atmospheric music. It's a staple of the band's live show during the 1980s. So another thing you may forget that in the 1980s, even a band like Van Halen that featured the late, great Eddie Van Halen on guitar he was known primarily as a guitar god, but even in the 1980s, Eddie Van Halen started bringing more keyboards into the Van Halen music, and a lot of that stuff became very heavily influenced by keyboards. Triumph is another band that started to do that in the 1980s. Whereas in the 1970s, if you go listen to most of the Triumph music, it's very guitar oriented. It was based around Rick Emmett's killer guitar playing, but Triumph's another band in the 1980s. They really started playing around with keyboards, and the sound became a little slicker, a little more commercialized. But you know what? I was a fan of it, and so were many people. And you're gonna find that type of music on this new Best of Triumph CD. So go out and get it. Okay. Now I mentioned probably one of my all-time. I say this a lot, but I mean, I'll tell you one of the songs that you really want to listen to on this album. Hold on, this is track number 7. It comes from the album Just a Game, and this is what you need to know. It's a motivational anthem about perseverance. So talking about fighting the good fight and fighting for what you believe in. It features one of Rick Emmett's strongest vocal performances. So, like I said, in reference to Rick Emmett, I got to really give it to the guy. Super talented. I mean, because not only was he a great lead singer, he's a great guitar player. So, I mean, Rick Emmett is one of those guys that is equally known for being a great vocalist, great frontman, and a great guitar player. He's really the triple threat, if you will. He's one of those types of performers, and it's good to see Rick Emmett back in Triumph. For the last several years, ever since he left Triumph originally in the late '80s, he's been very busy and successful as a solo artist. But let's be honest, love seeing him back with Triumph. People have missed him being in Triumph. Triumph just wasn't the same without him. But you got to give them credit for carrying on with Phil X for as long as they did. They're back now, and the band is celebrating 50 years. And so you just got to love that. I know I do. Okay, we're almost done here. Number 8, I Can Survive. Now, this comes from the album Surveillance, and it represents the band's later, more polished sound. Like I said, in the later 1980s, they started experimenting with keyboards, and many of the songs became more radio friendly, more commercial sounding. But Triumph wasn't the only band doing that, and so you had to give them credit for going out there and trying it. It's not exactly like when Judas Priest went out and did Turbo Lover, although I'm a fan of that too. But many Priest fans, you may recall, kind of had a drastic. There's a backlash to that. Oh no, that's not my Judas Priest. Where are all the guitars? Priest fans want metal and more guitar riff oriented type of music, but Triumph, they tested the waters with keyboards, and it worked for them. So, good for them for doing that. Okay, now number 9, Spellbound, off the album Thunder 7, and again, Spellbound is a heavier, surprisingly darker track than many songs on this Best of Triumph collection. It's driven by powerful drumming from Gil Moore, a longtime fan favorite. Now, again, like I said, many of the Triumph classics were centered around Rick Emmett's lead vocal performance and his masterful guitar playing. But this Spellbound, that's what really kind of made this song stand out. It's more centered around drummer Gil Moore's actual drum playing, the way he played the drums. And so here's the final track 10. And I really think probably because when this song originally came out in the late 80s, it didn't really do that well on radio. It wasn't really get the attention I felt it really should have. That's why I'm glad they chose this song to end the Best of Triumph CD, because after listening to the Best of Triumph CD from top to bottom, I'm glad they ended this one. If they're not going to include Rock and Roll Machine, this is another great way to end the album. Somebody's out there, and this is what it said. one of Triumph's biggest MTV era successes. Yeah, they had a video for it. I remember it was a big hit on MTV, and it got played somewhat on the radio, but it was a bigger MTV hit, if you will. And so that's another thing. It's kind of interesting that they end the best of collection with Somebody's Out There, because while Triumph has many music videos, if you go back and you go on YouTube, they got so many great music videos for people to check out. That's another thing I want you to do after watching this episode. Go and watch all the great Triumph videos. But Somebody's Out There, because again, Triumph started out in the 1970s. Now, once they moved into the 1980s, 1981 MTV hits, and so they another thing the Triumph had to start doing, like many bands that were around in the 1970s. Okay, got to start making music videos, and they did a great job of that. And so Somebody's Out There, a great way to end the album with a song that had a popular MTV video for it. So perfect way to end the album. I am Jason JRock Houston, and I hope you've enjoyed our JRock's Babylon new special. A new Best of Triumph CD. Go out and get this. It does not disappoint. And like I said, you will see after listening to the CD that Triumph is just good time music. It's going to give you good vibes, make you feel good. So that's just what the doctor ordered. I'm going to order you guys a dose of Triumph. So go get the new Best of CD, and it's going to rock your world like it did mine. Thank you. See you again real soon. Bye for now.